The film opens with our lead, Kate, waking up from a recurring nightmare of her giving birth to a stillborn child, Jessica. She relies heavily on medicinal drugs and goes to therapy with Dr. Browning every day. After therapy, she goes to pick up her mute daughter, Max. She brings her home, which is isolated from the rest of the town. Kate has trouble playing the piano because Max is playing basketball outside, hence, she heads out and politely tells her to knock it off. Her husband, John, comes home from picking up their elder son, Daniel. Kate feels like her family is whole again and enjoys the evening with them. She puts Max to bed that night and returns to her room, where she writes her personal journal and hides it. That night, John suggests conceiving again, but Kate has not healed from her miscarriage yet. Hence, John decides to adopt a girl from a Catholic orphanage. There, Kate talks to the owner, Sister Abigail, while John comes across a young girl who has isolated herself from the other kids so she can paint in peace. He sets his eyes on her and convinces Kate to adopt her. Kate doesn't think things through and agrees to adopt her after being impressed by her mannerisms. The girl goes by the name Esther, who they bring home right away. Esther wins everyone's heart by politely greeting them. She even uses sign language to interact with Max, but Kate tells her that she doesn't have to, since Max can read lips. Esther genuinely thrives in their house in the following days, which makes everyone happy, except Daniel, who keeps suspecting the real Esther behind the freaky smile. On Christmas, Daniel invites his friends to his treehouse while Esther takes Max outside the house and plays with her near the frozen pond. Kate keeps a watch on the kids through the kitchen window. That night, Kate and John decide to do the deed, but Esther interrupts them, along with Max, and asks if she can sleep in their bed. They ignore these little red flags at first and adore Esther. The next morning, when Kate takes the kids to school, she finds Esther's dress and her choker a bit odd, but she doesn't say anything because she fears Esther would have trouble settling in. Unlike Kate, Esther's classmates immediately criticize her dressing style, but she silences them with a death stare. When the kids return home, Esther puts Max on a sledge and runs over the frozen pond, which enrages Kate. Esther takes Max for a walk and comes across Daniel, who has mistakenly shot a pigeon with a paintball and is now regretting it. While Esther brutally kills the same pigeon with a rock and blames it on Daniel, which traumatizes him. The same night, Kate spots Esther locking her room door, so she searches her room in her absence. She ends up finding a rusty old Bible in her drawer. When Kate takes it out, a picture of a grown man falls out of it. Kate feels like she's being watched, so she immediately puts the Bible back in the drawer and leaves. When Kate leaves, we are shown that Esther was indeed observing her from the shadows. The next day at school, Esther gets bullied for keeping a Bible on her, while one of her classmates touches her choker, calling it a dog collar. This triggers Esther to scream relentlessly, which freaks everyone out. She returns home as if nothing had happened and takes piano lessons from Kate, during which Kate shows her family pictures. Esther changes the subject to the stillborn daughter that Max talks about. So Kate finally shows Esther Jessica's grave in the glass house, where she's planted white roses over the grave. To win Kate over, Esther sympathizes with her and comforts her, which brings Kate to tears. Around the same day, John wishes to make love with Kate in the kitchen. However, they are interrupted once again when they spot Esther watching them with disgust. Kate finally decides to have a talk with Esther about what adults do is normal. Esther's remarks leave her in shock, so she discusses it with John and decides to take her to Dr. Browning. With time, Esther starts stirring up trouble in John and Kate's peaceful life. John takes Esther and Max to the park one day, where Esther gets jealous to see a voluptuous woman hitting on John. She ends up hurting her daughter by pushing her off the metal slide. The parents complain about Esther to John, so he asks for an explanation at the dinner table. Esther swears that the girl slipped and makes Max cover for her by lying about the incident. Furthermore, she gets into a quarrel with Daniel, who doesn't like her adult-like table manners and geographical knowledge, which children aren't supposed to have. John grounds Daniel and locks his treehouse for misbehaving with Esther. The next day, Kate takes the girls for grocery shopping. Sister Abigail from Esther's orphanage calls Kate and wishes to speak with her, but Esther clearly says no. Kate moves aside to talk to Abigail in private, but the cunning Esther gets Max to read Kate's lips and use sign language to tell her what Kate's talking about. That is how she comes to know that Abigail is getting full updates about her new life. She slowly starts slipping up, revealing to Kate that she can play piano and was only pretending to be a rookie so she could have fun teaching her. Kate starts finding her habits peculiar in the coming days and becomes suspicious of her. Her paranoia further gets triggered when Abigail pays her a personal visit to let her know that there have been incidents in Esther's previous orphanage in Russia, suggesting that she stabbed a kid in the face and started a fire at someone's house. Kate starts sharing about Esther's behavioral problems, but John silences her by saying that Esther is a poor orphan whom they should take pity on. Esther overhears them and comes up with a plan to get rid of Abigail for good. She forces Max into it and makes her find the treehouse keys. While she packs a hammer in her school bag, she then takes Max to the other end of the bridge and waits for Abigail's car. When Abigail is about to cross the bridge, Esther pushes Max on the road, causing Abigail to crash on the side of the bridge instead of running Max over. When Abigail comes out to pick Max up, who is crying, Esther emerges from behind Abigail and whacks her head with the hammer she took from John's garage. She then tells Max to stop crying and help her drag Abigail to the side of the road, where she further bludgeons Abigail to death. Max witnesses this and becomes traumatized, but Esther takes her to the treehouse, where she hides their bloodied clothes and comforts Max like an elder sister. On her way out, she eyes Daniel tailing her, so she spawns in his room with a cutter at night when everyone is sleeping. She threatens to castrate him if he dares to tell his parents what he's witnessed in the treehouse. Daniel pees himself and whimpers in this situation, because he's still an innocent kid underneath all the bullying. The next day, John and Kate take Esther to Dr. Browning, but Esther uses her wit to turn Browning against Kate, which annoys her further. While Browning politely tells Kate to fix her drinking problems and move on from her dead daughter, Esther is seen throwing a fit in the bathroom stall, because she hates interacting with doctors and therapists. Later on, a detective visits them regarding Abigail's assassination, which prompts Kate to dig into Esther's past. In the meantime, Esther turns on her aquarium's black light, under which her paintings reveal the gruesome sight of their house on fire. Kate looks up some mental disorders and diagnoses Esther herself. She thinks that she pretended to be charming to manipulate them into adopting her. And now that they have, she's showing her true colors. John still defends Esther and gets into a quarrel with Kate, which affects her mental health. She suspects that Esther is eavesdropping on them again, so she stops. The following night, Kate calls the previous orphanage and finds out that they have no records of Esther getting into the American orphanage. The next morning, Esther acts all sweet and convinces John to reschedule her dentist appointment for some reason. In the meantime, Kate tries to ask her kids if they feel uncomfortable around Esther, but they keep their mouths shut since they're already under her manipulation. Esther catches on to what Kate is trying to do, so she starts pitting John against her. She paints with John and acts all innocent, but she deliberately provokes Kate by cutting all the flowers that she planted over Jessica's grave. Kate merely touches her arm, but Esther causes a scene and later breaks her arm to convince John that Kate abused her. John starts resenting Kate for hitting a child and grows apart, prompting Kate to become a problematic drinker. One morning, Kate steps out of her car outside the kids' school to see Daniel off. In that short time, Esther starts her car and puts it in reverse while Max is still inside it. Kate nearly dies knowing she can't stop the car. But the car crashes in the snow, which saves Max. That night, she has Browning over and openly discusses what Esther is doing, convinced that she's evil. John, once again, turns a blind eye to all the incidents happening around them, which drives Kate to insanity. Meanwhile, Max is seen getting threatened by Esther. Horrified, she still manages to let Daniel know that Esther is a threat to them. That night, Kate encounters Esther, who has stolen her personal journal. She blatantly starts reading intimate details and weaknesses of Kate from the journal, knowing that it is triggering her. The next day, Kate searches Esther's room and finds her Bible, which features the orphanage Esther is originally from. While Kate looks it up online, Daniel goes to his treehouse. Sadly, he's caught by Esther, who confesses to her crimes, sets the treehouse on fire, and locks Daniel in there. As she enjoys the sight of Daniel struggling to get out of the burning treehouse, Kate finds out that the Bible is from a mental hospital. She calls the American orphanage to dig into Esther's past, during which she watches Daniel fall off the treehouse. Before she reaches Daniel, Esther aims to bludgeon Daniel to death with a stone, but Max pushes her away. Kate finally arrives and takes Daniel to the hospital, where she gets into another fight with John. Their quarrel allows Esther to suffocate Daniel with a pillow and kill him in his private room. When Kate finds out about Daniel's suspicious death, she slaps the living hell out of Esther, which allows her to be the victim in the situation. John hospitalizes Kate and returns home with the girls. After putting Max to sleep, he gets drunk. Esther takes advantage of this situation and tries to flirt with John while dressed up as an adult. She tries to kiss him, but John comes back to his senses and pushes her away. On the other hand, Kate gets a call from the detective to whom she had sent Esther's picture. He has finally traced her origins and found out that Esther is a grown woman with a hormonal problem, which makes her look like a child. He tells Kate to call the cops immediately and have her arrested, knowing her criminal record. On the other hand, Esther has a breakdown after getting rejected by John. She takes out her veneers to reveal her actual rotten teeth. She also takes off her choker, revealing the collar marks from the mental hospital. While Kate rushes out of the hospital, Esther destroys her room and vanishes. When John comes to her room, he finally discovers the stuff Esther has been drawing under the black light. Most paintings feature him getting physical with other women. Kate drives recklessly and gets back home, where Esther has already hunted and killed John. She takes out the gun from the house safe and comes for Max next, who is in hiding. Kate also arrives home and starts hunting down Esther. She climbs the roof of her glass house and tries to guide Max, who is hiding there. Esther spots Max and starts shooting in her direction, which prompts Kate to break the glass roof and fall on top of Esther. Esther passes out due to shock, allowing Kate to grab Max and walk away. When she gets near the frozen pond, Esther comes running towards her with a knife. She overpowers Kate and starts cutting her for fun. Little Max shows courage and uses Kate's gun. However, her aim is imperfect, and it cracks the ice instead. Kate and Esther both fall into the pond, from which Kate comes out. Esther uses manipulation tactics on Kate, hoping she will save her, but this time, Kate kicks her in the face so hard that it breaks her neck and pushes her back into the frozen water. As Kate and Max become the sole survivors of Esther, the movie ends.
Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps like that.